this testimony from day 5. So we're going to hear from a very interesting character in this entire TK trial. So let's go ahead and get into it. If y'all haven't seen it yet, here we go.
I'm
sorry.
And Jeff, I'm going to start inputting this in the system, so once I finish, I'll just put them up here. All right, thank you.
I shouldn't make fun. That's not nice.
Oh, we need to see. Yes. Is there an extra chair for the attorney?
There's some in that back room.
You want to just put this like a that's only for the court
Here, I can grab one from my office.
All right.
and just make sure you speak into this mic.
Counsel, you okay with the rolling chair?
Of course. I can grab one from the witness room.
Oh, here's one here. Oh. Okay. Thank you, Nora.
Oh man, she does not want to be. We can already see how this is gonna go. Lord.
Oh, we have one. Thank you.
This girl's nervous. She's crying already? Dang, lady. She about to cry and throw up? Oh God, I hope not.
I'll just give you a moment. So just so everyone is aware, yes.
Sorry.
When there are cases where, I'm assuming, what is your name?
Joanna Reyes.
All right. So I usually let the jurors know that the person sitting next to them is their attorney. All right? All right. And both parties are ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Let's bring the jurors in.
All right, for the jury.
All right, here we go. Now let's figure out who this lady is. Why is she so
All right, State,
upset?
call your next witness.
The state calls Joanna Reyes.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record, and spell your last name, please.
Joanna Reyes, Reyes.
All right, State, you may proceed.
Joanna, will you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Joanna Reyes. I am a hairstylist and I also work at a warehouse.
And how old are you currently?
27,
And what city do you
she so
currently live in?
San Antonio, Texas.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, is there any way we could raise the microphone's volume on the witness?
Just one moment. Can you make sure that you keep your voice up so members of the jury can hear, so that everyone can hear? And if you'll speak into the long microphone that's there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What city do you currently live in?
San Antonio, Texas.
And about how long have you lived in San Antonio, Texas?
Since 2005.
Okay. Were you born? Where were you born?
Libertyville, Illinois.
Okay. And about how old were you when you moved down to San Antonio?
10.
What side of town did you grow up on?
Marbach area, 410.
And did you attend high school here in San Antonio?
Yes, ma'am.
What high school is that?
John Paul Stevens High School.
Having a panic attack?
And did you graduate from that high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you graduate from that high school, or did you obtain your
She looks like she's about to pass out.
I did homeschooling.
Okay. And is that how you were able to obtain your high school diploma?
Yes, ma'am.
Shout out to all
Do you
the
know why you're here
homeschoolers out
today?
there.
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that?
For the case to get justice for Mark Anthony Sapadar.
How have you taken responsibility for your actions on the day?
Let me hear the question, and then I'll rule on your objection.
Have you taken responsibility for your actions on the day that Mark Saldivar died?
The objection will be overruled.
You can answer the question.
Yes, ma'am.
And how did you do that?
I pled guilty to tampering with evidence.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So you entered a plea agreement with the state of Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, regarding that plea agreement, originally you were charged with capital murder, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you worked out a deal where you ultimately pled to the offense of tampering with evidence, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And for tampering with evidence, the range of punishment is 2 to 10 years in the prison or community supervision.
You know, I'm going to object to leading.
Sustained.
And I ask the jury to disregard the question and the answer, and the court will entertain it. All the questions and answers between my first objection and now.
No, I will not entertain objections that I've already ruled on. Ladies and gentlemen, the last question and the last answer you are to disregard. Does everyone understand? All right, State, you may continue.
Thank you.
She
So
doesn't
I'm
wanna
showing
go
you
back
what's
to
been
jail.
marked for identification purposes is State's Exhibit number 117. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, ma'am.
And does this document contain your name? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And does this document also contain your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And on this document, is it a fair copy or a true copy of your plea agreement that you entered?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you can use this to refresh your memory if you need to. Just don't read from it. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Your Honor, given that it's a certified copy of a judicial document, the defense would move to admit that exhibit.
Well, if you want to admit that exhibit, you need to do it during your cross-examination of the witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Well, Judge, since they're not going to object at this time, the state offers State's Exhibit number 117.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit number
I don't know
117
why
is
she's so
admitted
upset.
without objection.
All right. I'm going to take it back and may I have permission to publish it?
Granted. And I'm sorry, I don't know if the screen is working or not.
Oh, good. All right. So, Ms.
Oh,
Reyes, I
dang.
think where we left off was what was the range of punishment for the offense of tampering with evidence. Are you able to see the document up there on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know what the range of punishment is for that offense?
Yes, 2 to 10 years, possible fine up to $10,000 if the offense occurred on or after September 1st.
Dang.
And do you know what, well, I guess, and as part of your agreement, what was the punishment that was agreed upon that you were to be sentenced to?
Tampering with evidence, intent to impair.
Okay.
Come on,
And
man.
just regarding line 3, do you know what the state's recommendation for your punishment would be?
Yes, ma'am. 10 years deferred adjudication on the offense of tampering with evidence.
Okay. And then regarding line 4, what did the state ultimately do with the pending capital murder charge?
The state will dismiss the pending capital murder charge against your client at the time of.
Okay. And did you have other cases pending at the time that were dismissed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What?
And this plea agreement was made to you in exchange for what?
Truthful testimony.
Wow.
And so have you been on bond, or let me step back a little bit.
No wonder,
Do you know
yeah.
what day you entered this plea agreement?
She's snitching.
December 18th, 2018.
Okay. And have you been on bond in your case since that date?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what the conditions of your bond are?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
No contact with any of the defendants or the family of Marquette Salvador.
Now I want to talk to you about the month of April of 2017. Do you recall who you were hanging out with during that month?
Yes, ma'am. Tamor, Jalen, Isaac, Jeremiah, Desiree,
Okay. Tamor, what is his last name?
McIntyre,
And what is Jalen's last name?
Bell,
So they got her on
Do you know
something
Isaac's
else.
last name?
Ibarra,
And do you know Jeremiah's last name?
Rodriguez.
Dang, this is crazy.
Now,
She's a
specifically
snitch,
regarding
snitch.
Tamor McIntyre and Jalen Bell, Do you recall where you met them?
At a gathering at Isaac's house?
Okay. Had you met him before that day?
No.
You had never met him before that day?
You said Jeremiah?
No, sorry. Let me clarify.
I'm sorry.
So regarding Tamor McIntyre, you previously stated you met him at a gathering at Isaac's, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, had you met Tamor McIntyre before that day?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know about how far ahead?
I'm not too sure on the timeline, but I believe it was a year or a year and a half prior.
Okay. And how old were you in 2017?
18.
Did you know how old Tamor McIntyre was at that time?
No, he just said that he was 18.
Were you in a relationship with Tamor McIntyre?
So he says.
And how would you refer to you as?
His girlfriend.
During this time period, were you all staying together for living
Yes.
purposes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How old is this
Where
lady?
would you guys sleep?
Multiple people's houses.
Okay. Can you name some of the people's houses that you would stay at?
But it was
God.
Isaac. We stayed at Jeremiah's. He had a friend in Colleen.
27?
Named
Relevant sole judge is laying the predicate for testimony to come, but I'll move on.
Can we approach Your Honor?
Yes.
Oh, God. She was 27 at the time, or she's 27 now? I mean, either way. Oh, God.
All right, stage, may continue.
Thank you. Now, regarding Jeremiah Rodriguez, how did you know Jeremiah?
We had went to the same school, Stevens.
Okay. And so, for about how long did you know him before May of 2017?
Not too long, maybe a couple years. I knew of him. I never really hung out with him.
Okay. And in April of 2017, did Jeremiah Rodriguez have a girlfriend?
Yes.
Do you know what her name was?
Desiree.
Okay. During this time in April of 2017, what were you doing for work?
I was a entertainer.
And when you say entertainer, can you kind of further explain?
I did work at the strip club from ages 18 until probably 20, 23.
She was working at that strip club before 18. Man.
Now I want to talk to you about Mark Saldivar. Did you know him?
No, I just knew him on Instagram.
Okay. Based on your knowledge of him on Instagram, do
No
you know
wonder she was crying.
what his hobby was or what he liked to do?
Photography.
Okay. At some point in April 2017, did you come into contact with Mark Saldivar?
Yes.
Do you recall how you did that?
Through Messenger.
Okay. Is that on Instagram?
Yes, ma'am.
For what purpose did you come into communication with him?
Tamor wanted to make an album cover for his new song.
Okay. And so, specifically, why did you reach out to Mark Saldivar?
For that photo shoot.
Okay. And you said new song. What was Tamor's name that he would release songs under?
TK47 or TK.
Okay.
It's crazy.
And regarding Jalen Bell, did he have any nicknames that he would go by?
Pimpies or Pimp.
Okay. Now, why
Crazy.
was Mark Saldivar picked as the person to do the photo shoot?
Because he was offering to do it at low cost or no cost at all.
Okay. And were you supposed to be part of this photo shoot?
Yes.
Do you know what the plans regarding you were for the photo shoot? What were you supposed to be doing?
I was supposed to be in lingerie and with props of guns and marijuana and with a mask also.
Okay. And making the plans for the photo shoot, who was communicating with Mark?
That's wild.
It was
man.
me and Tamor.
Okay, and when Tamor was communicating with him, whose phone was he using?
She had to testify.
Mine.
She didn't have a choice.
So at some point, did Mark Saldivar agree to be the photographer for this photo shoot?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And so on April 23rd of 2017,
Oh, this
do you
testimony is
recall where
crazy.
you started the day off?
At Jeremiah's.
Is that Jeremiah Rodriguez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What kind of car did you have at that time?
A black Kia Forte.
Okay.
So they were in
Who was
her
that car
car.
registered to at the time?
My father.
But who was the one that was driving it?
I was driving.
All right. Do you recall how your hair was on that day?
I was wearing a blonde wig.
There
And
she
what did you
is.
have planned to do that day?
Just a photo shoot.
And who were you with for the photo shoot?
TK and Jalen and Jeremiah.
All right. Did you guys go anywhere altogether?
Yes.
Where?
To Mark's house.
And what vehicle did you all use to go to Mark's house?
My vehicle.
Okay. And who was the driver? Or when you guys got into your vehicle at Jeremiah's house, who was in the driver's seat?
I was.
And who was in the front passenger seat?
Tamar.
Who was sitting in the back directly behind you?
Jeremiah.
And who was sitting in the back directly behind Tamar?
Jalen.
Snitching. Oh,
Do you
man.
recall what color shirt Tamar was wearing?
White.
And just, can you explain Tamar McIntyre's appearance? As far as his skin color, how would you describe him? Do you know what his race is?
Yes.
What is that?
African American.
Would you describe him as a light or dark-skinned African American?
Dark skin.
Okay. And regarding his height, is he tall or short?
At the time, he was my height.
Okay. And regarding his build, was he skinny or chunky?
Skinny.
Now, regarding Jalen's appearance, or do you know Jalen's race?
No.
Regarding his skin color, how would you describe his skin color?
Light complected.
Okay. And regarding his height, is he tall or
light-skinned.
short?
Tall.
And was he skinny or chunky?
Chunky.
And regarding Jeremiah, do you know what his race is?
Hispanic.
Okay. And was he short or tall?
Tall.
And skinny or chunky?
Skinny.
Okay. And did he have short or longer hair?
Longer.
Now, you stated previously that you all went to go pick Mark Saldivar up. Do you recall where you all picked him up at?
His house.
Did you pick him up directly in front of his house or down the street from his house?
Possibly diagonal.
Okay, so not directly in front of his house?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know if Mark Saldivar had anything with him when he got into your vehicle?
She said he's light skinned.
Overruled.
You can answer the question.
He had a bag with him.
Okay. Do you know what was in the bag?
No.
Okay. Did he have anything else with him?
His camera.
Okay.
Objection waiting.
Overruled.
Do you know what kind of camera it was?
It was a white Canon.
Now, once Mark Saldivar entered your motor vehicle, who was sitting in the driver's seat at that time?
I was.
Who was sitting in the front passenger seat at that time?
Tamar.
Who was sitting directly behind you at that time?
Jeremiah.
And who was sitting in the middle of the back seat?
Jalen.
And who was sitting directly behind Tamar?
Mark.
Mark was sitting directly behind Tamar?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And so after you picked up Mark Saldivar, where did you guys go?
He asked us if we could reschedule for the day and if we can give him a ride to North Star. So I agreed and I said, okay, that's fine.
Okay. And so you were still going to give him a ride to North Star Mall?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Wow, this
And
testimony
so,
is crazy.
On the way to North Star Mall,
Dang.
what happened?
We hit the light at McCullough and Tamar took out his gun and pointed it at Mark and asked for his bag. Mark refused to give him the bag, so they all started hitting him, and Tamar was hitting him with the gun, and the whole time I didn't look back, but when I did, I saw his face, and I started telling them to let him go, and I just kept screaming, let him go.
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
And Jalen opened the door and started pushing him out. And he was fighting to get back in the car.
Dang.
And then they didn't let him in the car. So he went around the car and he jumped on the hood. And then the light turned green.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna stop you right there, okay?
Okay.
So, when you all were at the light on McCullough, you said Tamor produced his gun, correct?
Yes.
And who did Tamor have the gun pointed at?
Mark.
And what was Tamor saying when he had the gun pointed at Mark?
To give him his bag.
And so, once the light turned green, what happened?
He pointed the gun at me and told me to start driving. So I started driving. I didn't know where to go. So I turned into the first place that I saw, which was the Chick-fil-A. Once I turned into the Chick-fil-A, he kept yelling at me to get him off the car. I didn't know how to, so I was just going back and forth really quickly. And then Mark kicked the windshield and opened the door and shot him.
Okay.
Dang, that's tough.
He just,
All right. So when you were in the Chick-fil-A parking lot, and Mark was on the hood of the vehicle, who was sitting in the front passenger seat of the vehicle at that time?
Tamor.
What did you observe Tamor McIntyre do from the front passenger seat?
He shot him.
Dang.
How did Tamor,
He's cooked.
did he exit the vehicle or did he roll the window down? How did he shoot?
Yeah, he opened the door and leaned out on one leg.
Okay. Now, do you see the person that shot Mark Anthony Saldivar in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Would you please point to him and identify him by the article of clothing he's wearing?
That's a nice suit.
He's
I
wearing
like
a
that
white
suit.
shirt.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that this witness has identified the defendant, Tamor McIntyre. Now, I need to back up a little bit, and I apologize. When you all were at, where did Mark's backpack end up?
And Jalen had it.
Well, I'm gonna back up a little bit back to the stoplight on McCullough, okay? Did Tamor ever gain Mark's backpack at any point?
Yes.
Okay, and when was that?
And when they were fighting him,
Okay. And regarding, where was the backpack once you all were in Chick-fil-A? Do you know where it was or you didn't see it at that time?
I didn't see it.
Okay. Now, when you all were at that stoplight at McCullough and 410, prior to that, did you have any knowledge of Tamor's intentions to take Mark's belongings at gunpoint?
No, ma'am.
Okay, but then what did you observe occur?
He was robbing him.
And that's at the stoplight?
Yes.
Oh, they cooked.
When you all,
Dang.
well, I'm going to publish State's Exhibit. State's Exhibit number 63.
Dang.
Now, is that a fair and accurate representation of the events as they occurred on the offense date?
Yes, ma'am.
Permission to approach the witness, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibits numbers 119 and State's Exhibits number 120. Have you seen these before?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recognize the items that are contained within State's Exhibits 119 and 120?
Yes, ma'am.
And are they fair and accurate depiction of the items as they were on the offense date?
Yes, ma'am.
And tendering to defense for inspection and offering States 118 and 20.
Objection 403 and renewing our previous objection 702 and 3914 to the state's presentation of what is it, 64th video.
Oh, yeah, let's see. Let's see, let's see. Did I have parties approach?
Dang, this testimony's tough. Do y'all think this is the nail in the coffin for TK? Jeez. I mean, she was there. She saw it all. My Lord.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Now, regarding State's Exhibit number 119, are you able to see that if there, Ms. Reyes?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and can you please explain to the jury what I'm pointing at right here?
That's me.
And is that your motor vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
And what seat are you seated in?
The driver's seat.
And regarding State's 120, I'm gonna approach you. So you can't see. Regarding State's Exhibit number 120,
Y'all are saying
can you
he's
explain to
done
me what's
after
going on
this.
with the back passenger window right there?
Jeremiah has it rolled down.
Now, after the defendant shot Mark Saldivar in the Chick-fil-A parking lot, where did you go? What happened?
He wanted me to keep driving because he didn't want the cops to get there. So he had directed me through the window to drive, and I went down the access road and took the first left and stopped at a Mexican restaurant.
Okay. I'm going to back up a little bit before we get to the Mexican restaurant. Was Mark Saldivar ever shot inside of your black Kia Forte?
No, ma'am.
At any point, did you see Mark Saldivar with a weapon on him?
No, ma'am.
To your knowledge, did anyone else in the vehicle have a firearm?
Jalen.
But who is the only person that you saw with a firearm in the motor vehicle?
Tamor.
And so when you get to the Mexican restaurant, what happens?
It's tough.
I parked the vehicle, and then they started getting out of the vehicle, and then I got out of the vehicle, and they were going through the backpack, and then also going through his wallet, throwing things out.
Okay, I want to back up a little bit. Do you recall who got out of the vehicle first?
Tamor? Or no, Jeremiah.
Okay, and then after Jeremiah got out of, do you know where Jeremiah went once he got out of your vehicle?
No,
Okay. Did he ever come back and meet with you there at the Mexican restaurant?
no.
Okay. And then who got out of the vehicle after Jeremiah did?
Tamor.
Okay. And so you said, do you know where Mark Saldivar's backpack was at this time?
Jalen had it.
Okay. And regarding Mark Saldivar's belongings, who did you observe with Mark Saldivar's wallet?
Jalen.
Okay. Do you know if there was anything inside of the wallet?
He had got upset because there was only $10.
When you say he got upset, who are you referring to? He?
Jalen.
Can you please describe to the jury the demeanor of Tamor McIntyre and Jalen Bell at the Mexican restaurant once you all got off the vehicle?
They were kind of going back and forth, and then Jalen applauded him and gave him a high five, and they high-fived each other, and Jalen said he caught your first body.
Can you describe to the jury how you were feeling when you all were at the Mexican restaurant?
In shock?
Did you ever see what was inside Mark Saldivar's backpack?
No.
Did the defendant, Tamor McIntyre, ever make a statement to you about what was contained within the backpack?
Yes.
What was it?
He said there was a roll of condoms, a bottle of lube, and a whole nother outfit.
Oh, Lord. What's going on there?
Did the defendant ever make any statements about Mark Saldivar's cell phone? Or did anyone make a statement about Mark Saldivar's cell phone?
Jalen,
Do you know what he did with the cell phone?
he said he tossed it.
Objection, hearsay, confrontation.
Judge, it's a for the opponent, a statement by co-conspirator and for
Mr. Bell is not a party opponent.
The objection will be sustained.
Move to instruct the jury to disregard the question and whatever party answer got out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you'll disregard that
This is a
last
tough
question
witness,
and
man.
last answer.
This is a tough witness.
Denied.
All right, Ms. Reyes, now I'm going to show you some photographs. Starting with State's Exhibit number 88. Do you recognize what that is?
Yes. That's my car.
Continuing with State's Exhibit number 89. Is there anything significant contained within this exhibit?
The picture, me and Tamor.
All right, so this item that I'm pointing at, what is that?
A picture of Tamor and me.
And showing State's Exhibit number 93. Do you recognize what that is?
My toothbrush.
State's Exhibit number 94. This item that I'm pointing at, who did that belong to?
Tamor.
And this item that I'm pointing at, who did that belong to?
Tamor.
State's Exhibit number 95, the item that I'm pointing to, who did that belong to?
Tamor.
Stuff.
State's Exhibit number 99. Do you know this item that I'm pointing at, do you know who it belonged to?
It was either Jalen's or Tamor's.
Oh, man, she's getting the whole squad.
And regarding State's Exhibit number 102, the item that I'm pointing at, do you recall who that belonged to?
Either Jalen or Tamor.
Man. This testimony is crazy.
Okay.
I can't wait to hear what the defense has to say.
And regarding State's Exhibit number 115, do you know who that belonged to?
Tamor.
Now, after you all wanted to publish State's Exhibit number 63,
Oh, they're gonna attack her character like crazy.
so on State's Exhibit number 63, can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know who that is?
Jeremiah.
And on State's Exhibit number 63, as displayed where my mouse is toggling, do you know who that is?
Tamar.
And where my mouse is toggling on State's Exhibit number 63, do you recognize who that is?
Jalen.
And on State's Exhibit number 63, where my mouse is toggling, do you recognize who that is?
That's me.
Ms. Reyes, I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibits number 121 through 127, inclusive. Have you seen these before?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize the items that are contained within the State's Exhibits?
Yes, ma'am.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of the items as they were left?
Yes, ma'am.
Tendering to defend for inspection, offered in States 121 through 127.
Let me approach briefly.
Yes.
Man, this is wild, man. Absolutely insane. We gotta skip ahead. I want to hear the rest of this.
You could take a look at State. All right, Ms. Reyes, if you could take a look at State's Exhibits 121, do you recognize this item that I'm pointing to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what is this area?
Trunk of my car.
Okay, and the items that are contained within State's Exhibit number 121 are these items that were left in your motor vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recognize them to be in the same condition as they were when they were left in the vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
State offers 121 through 127 inclusive.
Any objections, Your Honor?
All right, objections are noted, they'll be overruled. State's Exhibits 121 and 127 are admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Granted.
Did you say and 127 or
No,
through?
121 through 127.
All right. Now, Ms. Reyes, regarding State's Exhibits number 121, you just explained, can you explain to the jury what's depicted in this State's Exhibit?
My trunk of my car.
In State's Exhibit number 122, do you recognize what is contained in the State's Exhibit?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that?
Tamar's jersey.
In State's Exhibit 123, do you recognize the item contained therein?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and this item that I'm pointing at, what is that and who did it belong to?
Tamar's pajama pants.
And regarding the item that I'm pointing to in State's Exhibit 123, do you recognize it?
Tamar and Jalen share the shirt.
Regarding State's Exhibits number 124, the item that I'm pointing at, do you recognize it and who did it belong to?
Tamar.
State's Exhibit 125, do you recognize that?
It's mine.
State's Exhibit 126, do you recognize that?
Yes, that's mine.
And State's Exhibit number 127.
And Tamar's.
Now, after you all are at the Mexican restaurant, did you all go somewhere after that?
I don't know if
Yes.
Joe can say
Where
in
did
this
you all
case.
And there's a Starbucks right next door.
Yeesh.
And we went there while Tamar was on my phone and he got a ride.
Okay. And where did you get a ride to, if you recall?
Jeremiah's house.
And when you all left the motor vehicle there at the Mexican restaurant, did you have any intention of returning back to the vehicle?
No, ma'am.
And you said that you all were going to Jeremiah's house, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that Jeremiah Rodriguez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you all go to Jeremiah Rodriguez's house?
Yes, ma'am.
And did Jalen and Jeremiah stay, or did Jalen and Tamor stay there at Jeremiah's house?
Yes.
Okay. Where did Jalen and Tamor go from Jeremiah's house?
They got a lift.
Just one moment. When an objection is made, don't speak, because I'll need to rule on the objection.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ask your question, and then you can make your objections, and the court will make a ruling.
Do you know if Tamor and Jalen went anywhere after being at Jeremiah's house?
Objection, yours.
That'll be overruled.
You may answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And just so the jury's aware, were you there at Jeremiah's house after you all left the Mexican restaurant? Who all was there at Jeremiah's house?
It was me, Jeremiah, his family, his mom, Tamar, and Jalen.
Okay. And so while you all are there at Jeremiah Rodriguez's home, where did Tamor and Jalen go from there?
They said they were getting a lift to Austin.
Objected, you're saying again.
Statement against interest.
So, with regards to hearsay, that's something someone else said, then the objection will be sustained.
Motion to instruct the jury to disregard the answer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're instructed to disregard the answer.
Motion for mistrial.
Denied.
Dang.
All right. Did you observe Tamor and Jalen leave Jeremiah Rodriguez's residence?
Yes.
And did they have any of Mark's belongings when they left?
Yes.
Do you recall what belongings of Mark's they still had?
The backpack and the camera.
Okay. Did you stay the night at Jeremiah's house, or where did you go after being at Jeremiah's?
No, I begged someone to take me home, which was his dad.
Okay. And did you have somewhere to be that next morning?
Yes.
Where was that?
Court.
Did you go to court the next morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, the day after the offense, you were in a court with bailiffs. Did you speak out then?
No, I was too scared.
And after court, where did you go?
To Dallas.
When you arrived in Dallas, who were you staying with?
Kayla, Tamar's sister.
Do you know her last name?
Beverly.
Do you recall what apartments you were, or what type of location you were staying at with Kayla?
There were apartments.
Okay. And do you recall what they were called?
No, but I remember the address.
Okay. And what is that?
2424 Henderson Drive.
Okay. Is there anything significant about the
Yeah, he keeps
location
asking
that
for a
sticks out to
mistrial
you?
too.
In the area across the street, there was a plaza, which I remember there was a Kroger at and a beauty supply. And then next to it on the left side, there was a gas station.
Okay. Did the apartment that you were staying at, did it have a balcony?
Yes, ma'am.
And is there anything significant about the door on the balcony?
Yes, the color of it.
Do you remember what color it was?
It was like a red-orange.
Okay. Now, shortly thereafter, after the offense occurred, did you learn information that a detective with the San Antonio Police Department was trying to get into contact with you?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do when you learned this?
His sister Kayla told me to lie to the detective and say that the car was stolen.
Objection, hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Move to instruct the jury to disregard the question and the answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are to disregard the question and answer.
And motion for mistrial.
Denied.
Okay. So without repeating what anyone told you, did you speak with the detective over the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
tell the detective anything about your motor vehicle?
Yes, that it was
Objection,
stolen.
hearsay.
You reported to the detective that it was stolen,
Yes, ma'am.
but that was not true, was it?
No, it was not.
Okay. Why did you tell the detective that?
Because I was told to do so.
Objection, hearsay.
Untimely?
Now, when you
Objection overruled, Your Honor.
Yes.
when you first spoke with the detective and told him that the car was stolen, did you make an appointment to speak with him in person?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you ever show up to that appointment?
No.
Why not?
Because the day before, they made me work at the club at Temptations, and that night, when I fell asleep, they stole everything out of my bag, my money, my ID, my social, everything.
And did you ever talk to the detective again?
Yes.
Did you tell the truth at that time?
No.
Why not?
I was scared
Why were you scared?
because I thought I was going to get hurt.
Why did you think you were going to get hurt?
Objection calls for hearsay.
All right, you're allowed to, you're not allowed to say what anyone else told you. There are certain exceptions to hearsay. I don't know if this would fall under one.
Why were you scared that you were going to get hurt?
Because anytime I didn't listen to Kayla, she would call Tamar on FaceTime.
I'm sorry. The objection to hearsay will be sustained.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd ask the jury to disregard the answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, you disregard the answer.
Motion for mistrial.
Denied.
Motion for mistrial.
Whenever you...
He loves just throwing that in there.
You're stating that you were in fear, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What, did you observe anything that placed you in fear?
Yes, he killed somebody.
And did the defendant ever make any statements to you about your family personally?
Yes.
And what were those statements?
That he would kill me and my family.
And is that why you were also in fear?
Yes.
Now, do you recall about how long you stayed in Dallas?
I'm not too sure on the time frame.
At some point, did you leave Dallas, Texas?
Yes.
Where did you go from Dallas, Texas?
Odessa.
And when you were in Odessa, were you away from the defendant and his sister?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you choose to speak out then?
No.
Objection. No, I'll withdraw.
Why not?
I'm still so scared.
What was she scared of?
And then ultimately, when you were in Odessa, were you arrested for a
What a
warrant?
mess.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And once you were placed into custody, did you get a message to the detective that had reached out to you previously?
Yes.
And what were your intentions with the detective?
tell the
Objection.
truth.
No, mistrial.
You can answer.
To tell the truth?
Okay. So did you wanted to speak with him, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you speak with him once you came back to Bexar County, Texas?
Yes.
And at the time that you spoke with him, did you have a plea agreement in place?
No, I did not.
And did you know that when you were speaking with him, there was a risk that you could be in trouble and charged in the offense?
No.
And you still decided to speak with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And, I mean, the detective did warn you that anything that you say or said at the time could have
Objection.
been used.
Hearsay, leading the jury.
Sustained.
Move to instruct the jury to disregard.
Gotta do better, man. He's also gonna say motion for mistrial.
Motion for mistrial.
What are you instructing the jury to disregard?
There you
Question.
go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're instructed to disregard the question.
No, motion for mistrial, I'm sorry.
Denied.
Did the defendant ever reach out to you to try to get you to say something specific to the detective?
Yes.
And what was that?
They wanted me to say it was in self-defense.
Objection, Your Honor. You're saying relevance, but keep using plural. I don't know who's saying what, so I would object to hearsay. The confrontation.
Well, Judge, my question specifically was, did the defendant, so it's a statement against interest.
The
Motion is
answer is
overruled.
plural.
Yeah, Ms. Reyes, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 128 and State's Exhibit number 129. Regarding State's Exhibit number 128, have you seen this before?
Yes.
And does it contain your name and signature on it?
Yes, ma'am.
And was this shown to you by the detective when you spoke with him in the Bexar County Jail?
Yes.
And regarding states, and is it a fair and accurate depiction of what you saw back then?
Yes.
And regarding State's Exhibit 129, do you recognize what is contained within the photo?
Yes.
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the people depicted in the photo?
Yes.
Tendering to defense for inspection and State's Operating 128 and 128.
As to 129, Your Honor, we would just object as to relevance. And number 403. As to 128, Your Honor, I'd like to briefly take the witness on the record before I make my
Let's see
objection.
the exhibits.
Motion for mistrial. Denied. This is a really good witness.
Sorry, come forward, counsel.
I wasn't sure if you wanted me, Your Honor.
It's about the exhibits.
Yeah, this is the key witness in my opinion.
Now,
What do y'all
regarding
think so far?
State's 129, do you recognize the people contained within the photo?
Yes, ma'am.
And the person that I'm pointing to, do you know who is that?
Kayla Beverly.
And who is that?
Tamar McIntyre.
And regarding Miss Beverly, is that the person that you previously testified that you were staying in Dallas with?
Yes.
And the state offers State's Exhibit 129.
All right, with regards to State's Exhibit number 129, defense's objections are overruled. State's Exhibit number 129 will be admitted. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a brief break.
What do y'all think about this for Take K? It's not looking great. I mean, this lady was sitting right there. She saw the shot go through the windshield. I don't know what the defense does here, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat.